Hi, I'm Emily D'Arcy.
And I'm Claire Burdick.
Jennifer Roach.
Brianna Ross.
Hi, I'm Minji. And I'm Brooke Evans, and this is our project of desalination.
Desalination removes salt and other minerals from water to make water drinkable. Although there are various methods to do this, the process used in 96% of desalination plants in the United States is called reverse osmosis. Reverse osmosis pumps water at high pressure over cylindrical membranes with tiny holes in them that block the passage of salts and other chemicals. The process takes 2 to 3 gallons of water to make 1 gallon of fresh desalination water. Desalination plants are usually built in countries without viable freshwater supplies, such as Aruba and Saudi Arabia. Since a desalination plant takes much energy, is very expensive, and causes social and environmental problems, usually very rich or very poor nations use this solution in arid and drought-stricken regions.
The source water is pumped from the well into pre-treatment filters that remove small particles. This filtered source water then flows to a high-pressure pump. It is then pumped into several reverse osmosis tubes at very high pressures of up to 1,000 pounds per square inch. Inside these tubes, the source water is fed through a spiral-wound membrane. This membrane acts like a filter that prevents most salt ions from passing through, thus separating desalinated water from source water. The desalinated water then flows to a pipe in the center of the tube assembly. The membrane filter is coiled around the central collection pipe. Once the desalinated water leaves the tube, it is clean and free of almost all salt ions and other compounds.
We're standing here with Ms. Deborah Rizzi, who is the Director of Communications of United Water in New York and New Jersey. So thank you and welcome to Ursuline.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here and happy to help share some information about reverse osmosis. Desalination, or the technology behind it, reverse osmosis, is a great technology. It's been around for a long time, and it's very helpful in areas where fresh drinking water supplies are scarce or somewhat limited. Rockland County needs an additional supply of water, and we were ordered by the Public Service Commission to put a new water supply online by 2015. And what's happening is the population in Rockland has been growing over the last decade, and the projections are that it will continue to grow. So the existing water supplies in Rockland County, which are primarily Lake DeForest Reservoir and other groundwater sources, are not sufficient to meet Rockland's growing needs. Rockland County in particular already has a tremendous conservation ethic. The average customer in Rockland County uses about 65 gallons of water per person per day. If you compare that to the average in the United States, it's 100 gallons per day. And even here in some parts of, other parts of Westchester, New York City, it could be 125 per person per day. So that's why we still need, despite their great conservation efforts, we still need a new water supply. The cost to build, we looked at two other options, wastewater reuse and building a new reservoir. Compared to the other options, this was the most cost-effective solution. It's probably half the price to build and less to operate. So the fact that Rockland needed a new water supply, we actually chose the project that would be most cost-effective for Rockland County citizens and those who pay rates for their water bills. That's a very good question. United Water has been stewards of the environment and stewards of water supplies for over 100 years. So protecting water supplies and the environment is something that is very important to us. So in building this and designing this plant, we've taken great pains to be sure that what we're doing protects aquatic life in the Hudson River. So we're doing things like using what we call 0.5 millimeter wedge water screens to protect aquatic life. We're locating the intake line in an area that's been previously disturbed. So we very seriously are undertaking building a plant in a manner that also protects the Hudson River. Desalination, again, is part of a series of options that are available to communities. And I think to the extent that we can provide future generations with safe, purified drinking water, it's something that we as a company have as a mission. It's something that we're charged with doing. So again, desalination and reverse osmosis are technologies that enable us to be sure that not only the current generation, but future generations have enough water for drinking, businesses, firefighting, and other uses.
We went to a park in Haverstraw to interview Lori Seaman, who is against desalination.
United Water is proposing to augment the drinkable water used by Rockland County citizens from the Lake DeForest Reservoir, the United Waters well field, and the Ramapo River with treated desalination water. United Water is proposing to do this by building a desalination plant in Haverstraw, Rockland County, along the salty Hudson River. Many citizens of Rockland County oppose the plant due to the cost, energy, and pollution problems associated with the plant. We are standing here with Ms. Lori Seaman for Rockland County Water Coalition, Associate Member of the Sparkill Watershed Alliance and Director of Strawtown Studio.
The cost of the plant currently is standing at around $190 million. It started out at $95 million, and the costs are they're not fully disclosed. The town of Haverstraw is expecting to benefit from it through the taxes, which the company would pay to the town directly. However, we're trying to inform Haverstraw's citizens that that's not quite exactly favorable to the citizens, because though the town itself would be benefiting from taxes accrued, the people will be paying much higher water taxes. So conservation is number one. Second would be water retention, looking at how we retain the water that falls on our county. The concern is that there's just simply not enough data collected to even give us any confidence level about what would be in this water. They have found in the pilot studies, they've already found strontium-90 and tritium in the pilot study water. They're saying it's below the accepted federal levels. But if you talk to people who are truly candid about this matter, there is no acceptable level of radioactivity in drinking water. What people often don't know too is, in addition to the leaks from Indian Point, which we like to say are never going to heal, it's going to get worse, Indian Point is permitted to do these releases periodically. Reverse osmosis is one of, I think, two ways to desalinate water, and both processes that I know of, I think another's a distillation process, if I remember it. They're both incredibly energy intensive, and that is one of our peak objectives to this also, is the energy intensiveness of desalination. The pressure to go through the filter causes a lot of energy need. And right now in New York State, the governor himself has this energy reduction initiative. The goal is to reduce energy consumption in New York State by 50%, or 80% by the year 2050, and 20% by 2015. I might have that wrong, but it's like that. And this completely goes in the opposite direction of the governor's own initiative. So just on the energy aspect alone, especially when we're saying that this plant is not warranted, there's absolutely nothing that's been proven that we need our water that fast in this method. There's all these other things that we should be trying first that are more energy friendly. Any water that's withdrawn from a habitat will impact it through the amount of wildlife that is caught. It's called impingement and entrainment, meaning it's caught on the screen or it's taken into the system and then it's toast, right? So any amount of wildlife that's captured into the intake process is taken out. In Haverstraw Bay, we have a number of species that are threatened or listed in the federally endangered list. Most recently, the Atlantic sturgeon, which is the Department of Environmental Conservation's banner fish. You see it all over on their logos and all. This is the known nursery for that fish. It spawns upriver, but here is where it spends a number of its years while it's growing into its size and weight class, so it can go to the ocean and live down there for years. What about the discharges? The system will be putting in more intense brackish waters and taking out of the process. So higher saline water will be reintroduced into this water body. They're saying, okay, it's going to be so diluted it won't matter, but what about the everyday ongoing nature of this, the enduring impacts on the river? Not enough studies have been done to forecast that.
Hello, I am your host, Emily DRC, and welcome to today's debate. Over here, we have Brianna Ross, who is pro-desalination, and on the other side, we have Brooke Evans, who is against desalination. Our first question is, how do you feel about the cost for adding United Water's desalination plant?
United Water says they chose the least expensive viable option because their fiduciary responsibilities to the customers.
Not true. United Water's obligation is to look out for shareholders and their company's profits.
The New York State Public Service Commission protects the interests of the public and has given them permission to go ahead with the desalination plant.
Taxpayers would pay for the plants, the buildings, and the ongoing rise of energy costs, but the company, United Water, would gain the profits.
Okay, how would you, Brooke, increase the water supply without using a desalination plant?
By increasing the amount of water taken from the Lake DeForest Reservoir from 10 million to 20 million gallons of water per day, this services the needs of the community.
You can't do that because of droughts. The new long-term water supply project must improve the reliability of the water supply system while meeting future demands by introducing a supply that is less dependent on localized precipitation.
Our next topic is energy. How will building the desalination plant in Haverstraw decrease the energy cost?
The Hudson River water near Haverstraw has less salt than seawater. It's the location where freshwater and saltwater meet, and reverse osmosis will be less expensive because it is more efficient.
Yes, but it takes 3 gallons of seawater to make 1 gallon of fresh water. Other desalination plants that were studied in California use approximately 9 times the energy of surface water treatment and 14 times the energy of groundwater production. When you pump excess salt water into the Hudson, it will make a more salty environment, which can harm the freshwater fish.
The next topic is environment. How will the desalination plant affect the environment around Haverstraw?
The briny byproduct will be blended with the Haverstraw sewer treatment plant and will be discharged into the Hudson with safe saline levels. It will go straight into the sewage.
High concentrations of salts, minerals, chemicals, or any other pollutants, including heavy metals and PCBs, will be returned to the Hudson River after the water has been extracted.
The plant will not cause any significant inverse impact on water quality or aquatic life, either during construction or operation.
A desalination plant, the quantity and the speed of the water that passes through the intake valve would interfere with the production of these critical fisheries and habitats, particularly for the Atlantic sturgeon, which was recently added to the endangered species list.
Adjust sprinklers so only your lawn is watered and not the sidewalk or street. For cold water, fill a pitcher and keep it in the refrigerator. This way every drop goes down you and not the drain. Run your clothes washer and dishwasher only when full. You can save up to 1,000 gallons a month. We collected water bottles that still had water in them for 4 days after school.
In total, we collected 73 water bottles containing 4 gallons of water.